Branford is, of course, like almost every other community in Connecticut when it comes to stolen cars, but within the past week, they experienced a car theft that was a little more brazen than usual.
Every single neighborhood in our town has been affected by these car break-ins, these auto thefts.
And last week, in a bit of a different twist, 2 cars were stolen from the garage of a Branford residence.
They did go into an unlocked garage and they did go into a home and retrieve the keys off the counter. They proceeded to take the vehicles out of the garage.
That scenario familiar to one Branford resident.
I put the keys on the table inside the door, and the next morning I went out to go somewhere and no car.
This despite his intimidating dog. Do you have sort of a different process for making sure your keys are not accessible?
I really don't, to be honest with you.
Police say one reason for the proliferation of thefts, state laws.
The state model policy has made it difficult for us to pursue for these type of crimes.
That is, unless the suspect has committed a major felony, and them being at large is a greater risk to the community than a pursuit itself.
It's just emboldened these young individuals to come out here and steal these cars.
And he cautions those who are gun owners that like to put stickers in support of organizations like the NRA or CCDL on their vehicles.
If you are one of these individuals with those decals on your car, you might want to remove them because they will target the vehicle in hopes of finding a firearm.
Detective Lieutenant Eula tells us when he first joined the PD, they experienced perhaps 4 car thefts a year. He says now it's not unusual to have 4 cars stolen in a night. Here in Branford, Tony Terzi, Fox 61 News.
And the numbers are staggering. Tony.